So why the name change? There's a number of reasons. Creating is the philosophy, the perspective that I've been teaching for many years now. And yet I had the website wearecreating.com. And one of the first things out of my mouth every morning or out into my journal when I'm writing is "we are creating." And that's an outgrowth of "I am creating." So that explains one of the shifts. I've been really using the word "we" in place of "I" often. In my journaling, also in my speaking. And that is really a practice to move my identification of self into a broader context, whether I'm picturing just me and my wife, or me and my family, or me and my extended community here, or me and the whole world of humanity, or me and all of nature and everything, me as the universe, the all, the we. So this kind of we space energy has been part of my own personal evolution, trying to associate more with that than with a separate individual self. So that's part of the evolution that lives inside of the work too, by the way. Using the word we instead of I is maybe just one little tool or practical thing that could help you to associate with that, but that's one of the points of creating. Actually, the kind of secret mission of creating is that it's really a spiritual growth, a methodology. It's a way to become more free from the inside out, to live more as a force of love, and to have a greater ability to make a bigger impact in less time. I call that power. And we use things in the world, business, relationships, as the context for that growth. And so one of the growths inside that spiritual journey is the move from identification as a separate self, and then other, this kind of dichotomy or this distinction, into a we, where you associate with the collective. So it's part of the journey. And so it's been right there in the name the whole time, which is kind of funny. Amy on my team at the time really preferred the domain wearecreating.com over other options that we had. Creating.com was way too much money, so we went with that one. And at first it was like, we as a team are creating, but it's taken on so much more meaning by being with it over the years. So that movement into the we is part of it. Another piece of it is this: as I moved back into doing live events and being in person with people together and creating in-person community, it really has hit me how when I am creating this space for people to be in, and to be in the creating dialogue, to be in this conversation that liberates you, that creates a depth of connection with love, and that gives you the ability to make a bigger impact in the world, what happens is there's something that occurs in that we space that's so much greater than anything that I can do as an individual by myself or with one other person. And so the space starts to create a transformative impact. It becomes liminal. And so in one of our recent events in London, one of our participants, Nicholas, said, "This is like a social experiment. This is like an incubator." And for a minute I was like, "Incubator? What are we, an accelerator? Like, what do you mean?" And then she kind of pointed it out a little bit, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can see that." Really, creating this work is a context that you enter into, and the conversation's kind of weird, and at first you're like, what the hell is everybody talking about? But through being with it and staying with it, being in that space, this collective energy, this different way of thinking and speaking, you start to experience a transformation, and that is created largely through the we, much more than just through I and what I might be able to ask or say or share. And so I started to realize that, like, actually, it's not me that's creating for people. It's we that are creating for people. And people get such a more transformative experience through that we space. We're going to be launching another program soon that's a virtual program, not just the live events. That's going to have a group of people working together as we are creating. But all of the things I've ever done, Creator Circle, people join Creator Circle maybe because they are interested in working with me, but then they realize really quickly that, oh my gosh, this circle is a context that creates a real evolution, a real transformation. And so it just became obvious to me that we are creating is not just the domain, and not just something that I declare in my writing, but this is actually the name of the work that we do here. Not that I do, that we do. And so hence the name change. So we are creating. And the last reason why, I have to admit, the acronym is a throwback to the 80s and 90s, the word WAC, W-A-C, and I just really love that. And when I sit with it for a second, you're like, oh, WAC, isn't that bad? You know, somebody said to me something the other day. They said that one of the things that I believed in, one of my ideas, said, dude, that's whack. And I was like, I felt that little in the stomach, and then I was like, and let that go. Be free to be whack, to be able to stand up. Like my dad used to say when I was a kid, "Kid, you're an odd duck." It was an endearing comment, but as a kid, I heard it as like I'm the odd one out. And I had to work through getting free from the fear of my dad thinking I'm odd until I could realize that, wow, that uniqueness, that oddness, that is my gift. When I could be free to be with that, and I could feel love for my Father and feel love for the idea of that uniqueness, I could take it into the world, make a bigger difference in less time. That's more power, and I could create what I would love. And so, in that same way, I love the word WAC as an acronym, because it's to be able to be WAC, to be unique, to stand out, to make an impact. There's another WAC, right? And so, welcome to WAC. That's why we've changed the name. I love you. Thank you for being here. I'll talk to you soon.